Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain. As we look out and see the things that are going on, I don't know if you guys are paying attention and looking at the world news, because like I said, that 6 o'clock news is just a gossip hour. That's not news. You're going to have to look at something else to hear what's going on in the rest of the world. And, we often have a whole lot of people talking about how they want to go and visit Israel. And for some reason, they just don't see all of the turmoil and all of the things that are happening in Israel. But these things must take place because it is time for the redemption of the true children of Israel. So the imposters have to end up making some agreements, and they're doing everything that they can to keep from making those agreements. But the bottom line is, this is what they were put there for. This is what they were put in that place for, so that they can agree to the evil leadership that is going to be placed there. They have been put there for a purpose, and their purpose is about to be fulfilled. You hear constantly the whole talk of so-called peace in the Middle East. Well, you cannot have peace with everybody fighting over the same piece of land that does not belong to either one of the parties involved. That's the interesting thing of what is happening. But of course, with the Jewish controlled media, there are certain things that you're just not going to hear. We have, consider the things that we have encountered here in America, and how just in the last year or so, we've had several police shootings, and how people have rioted. Understand that it's just in this month alone, Israel has killed about 44 Palestinians since October 1st. And we have issues with one or two of us getting shot down by the police. This is the government. First of all, they taunt them by going in to some of the sites that are holy to them, and then forbid certain people from going into it. They forbid what happens. You consider, this is our little sanctuary. This is where Yahweh has given us a place whereby we can praise his name and do the things that he has commanded us to do. Now imagine if you got ready to come in here and there were people standing at the door saying, I'll let him in, but not her. I'll let her in, but then not him. Okay, the little one can go in, but not that big one right there. How long do you think it would take before it would be some serious problems at that front door? Because some of these people that they're not allowed, some of those people in the same family. So how you let one person in the family through and tell the other person in the family they can't come in? So there are some serious issues there. And what we have to do is, because of the media spin and the things that we're going to hear, you have to understand what is really going on. So we're going to go through some things so that we can get a clear view of what's happening. But before we get started, brother, could you read the oracles and entreat the angel that stands at the door to come in and sup with us and us with him, that we may make this a holy convocation by the angel's presence?
1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right. We're going to begin today's sermon in Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 17. Today's sermon is entitled Israeli Unrest, Understanding the Judgment. Israeli Unrest, Understanding the Judgment. Now, do understand that Israeli is supposed to be how you pronounce Israelite in Hebrew. So understand that they are calling themselves the Israelites. But that, of course, is not what they are. Genesis chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 17.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day Elohim ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the seventh day, and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Elohim created and made.
Okay, so the Sabbath has absolutely nothing to do with man. It has nothing to do with any nationality, group of people. It has nothing to do with any ethnic anything. It is all about Yahweh. So the audacity of man to believe that at some point the Sabbath can be changed. This has nothing to do with man. Man ain't even in the picture. This is all Yahweh. So for somebody to say, oh, this is the day that the Jews keep. Wait a minute. Ain't nobody here. He was the one that said, I have completed. This is a thing of completion. I am complete. Rest. Sanctified today. He sanctified today. Had nothing to do with anybody else. So man in his arrogance says, well, I can change this day. Where is man? Man ain't even here. That lets you know just how much the Euro Gentiles have boasted against the setup. This is just not something that the children of Israel was doing. No, the Most High set this up. Go ahead.
Verse 4, Genesis chapter 2 and verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that Yahweh Elohim made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahweh Elohim had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And Yahweh Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed, and out of the ground made Yahweh Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. The name of the first is Pison, that is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And Yahweh Elohim took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it.
Okay, this man was then given a place. This man was given land, and Yahweh took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Man has land and man has a job. Go ahead.
And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat of it. For in the day that you eat it thereof, you shall surely die.
Now, man is given land and man is also given law. You can eat out of everything there, except do not eat from this tree. If you then eat of this tree, in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. This is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now understand, there were 2 trees. There was a whole nother tree, a tree of life. Now, he didn't tell him not to eat from that tree, because eventually man is going to eat from that tree, because man was designated or designed to live forever. But that was in its own time. But before man would even understand the tree of life, he would first have to eat from the tree of knowledge before he understood what the tree of life was all about. So he didn't have to move them until he ate from the tree of knowledge. Now he understands what the tree of life is. Now he got to go. So land was given and a law was given. Let's go to Exodus 19. So that you see that Yahweh operates the same way. Once you understand how Yahweh operates, there are certain things, as things are taking place in your life, you should start figuring out what it is that Yahweh is trying to move you to do. See, a lot of people just sit around and whine about their circumstances, not understanding that Yahweh is moving them. And we would like to believe that we can move on our own, but we're not going to do it. You can know something is what you need to do, you ain't going to do it. You think you're going to do it, you ain't going to do it. But when Yahweh send them people after you to kill you, oh, you're going to do it then. He sent a whole lot of haters your way, and a whole lot of problems on this job, yeah, then you do what you're supposed to do. But as long as everything's going good, you're not going to do it. Exodus chapter 19, and let's read verses 1 through 8.
In the 3rd month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moshe went up unto Elohim, and Yahweh called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, You have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if they will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
Okay, first thing, after coming out of this captivity, now he's about to give the children of Israel land, and before he gives them land, he gives them law. See, this is why there's a certain part of the law that people don't understand, because they think the law just popped up here in Exodus. But as soon as there was land given in the garden, there was also law given in the garden. Don't touch this. That's law. See, people just don't like the term. They don't like the word law. But if he commanded it, it's law. He didn't suggest it. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And you shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation.
This right off the rip, before anything is given to the children of Israel, he automatically tells them that they're going to be a kingdom of priests. Yet he only sets up one tribe as priests, and that would be the Levitical priesthood. But from the beginning, he already told them that they're going to be a kingdom of priests. Yahweh already looking for. What we look at is what's right in front of us. He already looking. Yahweh is already at the end of this book, and we right here. We right here at the beginning. He has already explained to us the end, and we don't know it. You shall be a kingdom of priests. What? Then he turned around and said, all right, the Levites are mine. They're going to be priests. Then later on, he opened up the priesthood to the rest of Israel through Yahshua. Then we see in the end, as all of the rest of the nations grab hold to this word, now all of Israel will have to be priests. Yahweh is already to the end in Exodus. But because man is so carnal, man don't see that. Man doesn't see the spiritual nature of the law. Man just see the carnal part of it. Go ahead.
These are the words which you shall speak unto the children of Israel. Verse 7. And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which Yahweh commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, all that Yahweh hath spoken we will do. And Moshe returned the words of the people unto Yahweh.
Okay, so now they have heard those things. They have entered into that covenant. They said all the things that you have said, Yahweh, we will do. So we see that in each one of these instances, before the land is given, there are stipulations given as to how you must carry yourself in Yahweh's land. Let's go back to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis chapter 3. So that you understand that Yahweh is not just doing some things because, he just thought it would be cool to do. You find out that this is a way. This is how the Spirit of Yahweh moves. If you are going to have the land of Israel, then there is a way that things must be done. So when we look at all of the turmoil that is happening in Israel, understand Yahweh kicked us out because we wouldn't do what we were supposed to do in it. But now the heathen has boasted himself because America and Great Britain has placed them in the land proclaiming to be the Jews. But they're not following any of the things that are in this Torah. And the land is revolting. Every one of their neighbors is professing to blow them off the face of the earth. And we then allow everybody else to tell us that's because those people are anti-Semitic. Now, the irony of that is most of the people that are saying that they're going to blow them off the face of the earth are actually Shemitic, which is what that word really means. Anti-Semitic is supposed to be anti-Shemitic. Those are Shemites. And most of the people that are in the land are not Shemites. That's the irony of the whole thing. They accuse you of being anti-Shemitic, and most of the people that are there are converts. There are some Esau and Edom who are there. Those are one group of people. Then you have the Khazars, all these other people. Those people are Gentiles. They're not Shemites. So they accuse people of being anti-Semitic, and they're not Shemites. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtile than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, has Elohim said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die.
Now, in our mind, there's a problem here because this woman is speaking to this serpent, but you have to understand the level of peace that was in the garden before man sinned. You have to understand the order of things before. Yahweh brought all the animals to Adam to see what he would call them. So there is a system of peace at this point. Go ahead.
And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. For Elohim does know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
Now, you have to understand something. The animals were brought unto him, unto Adam. Now, how does this one animal then understand things that man himself does not understand, being that man was to have dominion over these animals? Understand, as we deal with day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, there are millions of our years in between that. So all the dinosaur period, all of those things are before man. When man is put in this situation, man has dominion over the earth. Man was not here with dinosaurs. Man can't have dominion over that. You can't have dominion over something that can just pop your head off and spit it out like a seed. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
All right. So something has encountered this serpent to give the serpent the understanding to then talk to the woman. Understand what's happening. It's not just, it says in the beginning, the serpent was more subtle than any of the beasts. So the serpent had a certain slickness about him that allowed him to be used by the adversary. See, this is something that we have to consider. Are there certain characteristics in your makeup that allows the adversary to be attracted to you? Are there certain things in your demeanor that would make it more profitable for him to possess your body than to possess your neighbor's? Read.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 7. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim amongst the trees of the garden.
Right. Now, these are all the things that the serpent said. You will know good and evil. You will be as gods. Now they have eaten. Now they're starting to understand. Now they knew that they were naked. Before, they were naked and yet unashamed. They walked amongst Yahweh naked, and Yahweh never said a thing. They never knew they were naked. It's no difference than if you walking with some kids. The kids don't know they naked until they get a certain amount of understanding. And once they have that understanding, or once it is to that point that the understanding should be there, they are then held accountable because they know or should know. See, what we think is we're going to play stupid and somehow we are not judged because we've played stupid. See, we act as though we don't know what's going on. Well, since I don't understand that word, so I'm not judged by that. No. You grown, right? No. There's a certain point that you should understand certain basic things. And after that point, you are held accountable. So man has sped up his own accountability. See, Yahweh wasn't at the point of putting accountability on man. Man put accountability on himself. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, Where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told you that you was naked? Have you eaten of the tree whereof I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
Right, so here come passing the buck. This is the most classic thing. Everybody said it was they did it. This is everybody's thing here. Okay, go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto the woman, What is this that you have done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the serpent, Because you have done this, you are cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life.
Right, this is the curse of the serpent. This was not the way the serpent moved before. The serpent didn't move on this belly before. See? Now, understand something. Every entity that allowed itself to be used by the evil spirit is being judged because of it. Everybody involved. Go ahead.
And I'll put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. It shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In sorrow you shall bring forth children, and your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you.
This is the law of the husband. The law of the husband is given before the law given to Moshe, your husband, and he shall rule over you. This whole part about sorrow in conception, all of this is given here. See, a lot of times we don't get to see the law because people don't deal with this as law being given at this point. Go ahead.
And unto Adam he said, Because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You should not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread, till you return unto the ground. For out of it was you taken, for dust you art, and unto dust shall you return.
Right. Before, man was able to put his hand in the ground and pull out whatever he wanted. Now he's going to have to work for that stuff. And this is also where Yahweh has instituted. See, there's several laws in here. Yahweh has also instituted burial. He said, For out of the dust you were taken, to the dust you shall return. But see, we look at all of them things that the Euro Gentiles do. Yeah, I'm going to have my body cremated and then pour my ashes all along the sea. Right. And you read in Genesis, Yahweh said he going in the water and getting all them dead people out of it. Right. So they can come up for judgment. Right. Yahweh, them angels going to get every last one of your little ashes. That go one, that go a piece of them, that go a piece of them. And you get every last piece and put you all back together so you can get judged and get thrown right in that lake of fire. He already told you what you were supposed to do. You came out of the ground, that's where you're supposed to be buried. Now you're going to be sleek. You know, put my body on a raft and just set me on fire and just push me out in the ocean. That way my spirit floats all over the earth. Right. And the angel going to go all over the earth and pick up every last bit of your spirit so you can get thrown in that lake of fire. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 20. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 20. And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and to his wife did Yahweh Elohim make coats of skins and clothe them.
Hold on, bro. I'm sorry, Sister Rachel. What's your name? Yahaziel now? Yaziel. Wake that sister up in the back over there. Tell her sister go get her something to drink or something. Yeah, that would be you. Get up. Go ahead.
And Yahweh Elohim said, Behold, the man is become one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat, and live forever.
Now that there's understanding, man, then will understand this tree of life, and he eats from this tree of life, and he will live forever. In verse 21, and unto Adam and to his wife did Yahweh Elohim make coats of skins. This is animal sacrifice, though he has not explained that is animal sacrifice. See, there are certain things that are happening. He doesn't give animal sacrifice till way later. He has not explained that at this point. But he made them coats of skins. Remember, they covered themselves with fig leaves. That was not an adequate covering. First of all, there was no blood shed for their sin. There was nothing to make atonement. So he made them coats of skin. Yahweh sacrificed an animal for their sin, because neither one of them could do it. After the woman sinned, then Adam sinned too. So Adam couldn't even pray for the woman, because he sinned with her. So now Yahweh is standing. Well, now I got to be the priest. Now I got to come down here and make this sacrifice to make an atonement for their sin. You gonna pay for that? You make Yahweh come out of his holy habitation to deal with your mess, you gonna pay for that. You gonna pay for that. Go ahead.
Verse 23. Therefore Yahweh Elohim sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life.
So, when land is given, law is given. When the law is broken, you are ejected from the land. This is in the beginning. Did not do what he was supposed to do in the land. Now he's pushed out. Man has already been given a paradise. See, the Christian dogma keeps telling you that, oh, man gonna go to heaven. Man gonna go to heaven. Man was already given to heaven. Man was able to stick his hand in the ground and get whatever he want. Man messed up his own heaven. You ain't going to no heaven. Nowhere in this book does it say you're going to heaven. What you gonna do is fix the paradise that was given unto you. That's what you gonna do. That's what all of this is about. You fixing the paradise that you messed up. You give a kid a car and he tear it up, and then you turn around and give him another one. You ain't taught that kid nothing. Here go another one. Then what you gonna have to do then? You gonna have to give another one and another one. We're gonna need 18 earths. And you keep doing that, because we're gonna keep tearing it up. Think Yahweh made something for us to, this ain't nothing he bought. This something he made. See, you got to consider that. See, it's something when you just go and throw money at a problem. But I tell you what, you let somebody build something from ground up and you tear it up and see how they look at you. They put their time and effort into sculpting this thing for you. And they come in and you got it up under some socks. Oh, you gonna deal with that? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28. And let's read verses 58 through 68.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 58. If you will not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that you may fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh, your Elohim.
Right. Now the first thing the imposters tell you is that the name is too holy to say. Yet this book says that you shall publish the name of Yahweh. So you have to understand the way the imposters work is slowly to pull all of that culture away so that people will not recognize that they're not doing it. Go ahead.
Then Yahweh will make your plagues wonderful, and the plagues of your seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance.
Mm-hmm. And the plagues we have are more, all of the sicknesses and all, we have more than anybody. We have, whatever it is bad, we got it more than anybody. That's part of Yahweh's judgment. But we don't see that. See? We're so busy being mad at everybody else who help facilitate those things that we don't see that the root is coming from Yahweh. Go ahead.
Moreover, he will bring upon you also the diseases of Egypt, which you was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto you. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, then will Yahweh bring upon you until you be destroyed.
He even said plagues that he ain't even written down. Said, I'm going to create some stuff for you. They going to have diseases they can't even figure out yet. You going to have new diseases. Go ahead.
And you shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because you would not obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim.
All right, this is judgment for not obeying the law that you received before you received the land. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that as Yahweh rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so Yahweh will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And you shall be plucked from off the land whether you go to possess it.
So the judgment for not following the law in the land once again is to be removed out of it. Now you see why the children of Israel have been placed all over the world. This was his punishment from the beginning. Yahweh does the same things the same ways. What you won't find in here is that if you don't obey the law, I'm going to put you in a furnace and I'm going to cook you. No, wait a minute. That's Holocaust. Yeah, that might have been a horrible thing. The problem is it ain't in the Torah. Now, how is it that the most horrific event that happened to the fake Jews is not in here? Because this whole chapter of Deuteronomy 28 explains our slavery to a T. And no other people, even when the fake Jews try to act like they were the ones in Egypt, the problem is Deuteronomy 28, Egypt has already happened. You can't claim Egypt when it comes down to Deuteronomy 28. He's saying these things are going to happen after Egypt. See, you gotta learn to listen to the slickness. See, they're claiming that that's their captivity. No. Deuteronomy 28 promises a captivity after Egypt. Where is yours? Go ahead.
You know, the same way we can look and see how Yahweh does things, we can look back to Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael and see how the Gentiles do punishment, which is what they did in Germany again.
Right. This book has more in it that it was their thing. Let's throw them in a furnace. What they were going to do to Daniel and all of them? What? Let's throw them in a furnace. Who does that? Who throws people in a furnace? Right. Gentile. That wasn't our thing. Even when you talk about the crucifixion, the Jews didn't do punishment like that. The Jews would have stoned you to death. See, you got to learn. You don't just have to listen and learn the good things. You also learn the bad things. So what happened is when you hear some mess, you know where it came from. Like if a mama know her child. Now, a lot of them want to play like they don't know their children. But there's certain things that if you hear something and people say, you know, this kid, somebody came through here and knocked a hole in this window and somebody set the cat on fire. And now my kid knocked the hole in that window, but he didn't set that cat on fire. That's somebody else's kid that set the cat on fire. Now I know my kid definitely bust. That sound like my kid, but matter of fact, I got holes in all my windows right now, so I know my kid bust that window, but he didn't set that cat on fire. That's somebody else. Y'all looking for another kid. The cat fire starter. You looking for another one for that. But see, you need to be able to listen when you hear these things, burning in the furnace. You ain't heard the children of Israel doing nothing like that. When you start talking about crucifixion, that's a Gentile punishment. If it was up to the Jews, they would have got a bunch of rocks. Because what? The law was written in stone, so the punishment was to stone you. See, there's a line, if you pay attention, the line actually connects. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there shall you serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known.
Right. So the fake Jews then should have been coming from all over the face of the earth. Yet they all come from one general area. That's a problem. Go ahead.
Even wood and stone. And among these nations shall you find no ease, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahweh shall give you there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind.
And everywhere we are, we have the same issues. It doesn't matter if you go to South America. It doesn't matter if you go to Europe. everywhere where we are scattered across this globe. We have the same issues that we have in Ferguson, that we have in Atlanta, that we have all over wherever we are. We have the same issues. So it's not country related. Go ahead.
And your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you shall fare day and night, and shall have non-assurance of your life. In the morning you shall say, would Elohim it were even? And at evening you shall say, would Elohim it were morning?
Right. You want the other one to already be over with, because you know of the problems that you're going to face. Go ahead.
For the fare of your heart wherewith you shall fare, and for the sight of your eyes which you shall see. And Yahweh shall bring you into Egypt again with ships.
Okay. Yahweh shall bring you into Egypt again with ships. So do not let them get away with the slick trickery of claiming that the Egyptian captivity was them. First of all, it's a lie. Second of all, it's speaking of another captivity. I was watching that movie Night of the Museum, and you have to learn the trickery in the movies. There was, of course, a part where there was an Egyptian pharaoh. Now, of course, the Egyptian pharaoh was white, but he had a black wife. Imagine that. Now, I'm going to show you the different parts of the trickery. Now, the Egyptian pharaoh was white. The wife was black. So the kid looked what? He looked mixed. What did he look like? He looked like the fake Persians that they have in the land claiming to be Egyptians now. You gotta learn to play the game. Roll with me, roll with me. The people who are in Egypt now are the Persians claiming that they are the Egyptians. When they took over, that's why they're putting all of the chemicals on the paintings to try to lighten them up so the paintings look light skinned, because all of those things on the pyramids, those are very dark skinned people that were there that put those things together. So now the Persians are trying to act like they built the pyramids. So they making the pictures light skinned. So understand that that's one part of the trickery. This had several layers to their lot. First of all, of course, then they would be black people, but of course it would be through the mama, not through the dad. Okay, another level of trickery. So then the Pharaoh ends up saying in the movie, the guy said, well, who are your people? He was talking to Ben Affleck. No, it wasn't Ben Affleck. It was, I can't think of the guy's name. Ben Stiller, there you go. He says, you're Jewish? He said, oh, I love the Jews. I owned 1 million of them. So they're such happy people. They're always singing. He said, no, man, no, they were not happy. They were not. They were pretty miserable. We meet once a year to talk about it. What he was talking about was Passover. So just so you can see the trickery, they then put it in the movie that it was them that they participated in the slavery, and that slavery was so horrible that they have a dinner once a year to talk about it that they call Passover. This says Egypt again. Call a spade a spade. Stop letting people lie to you with slick trickery. Where's your captivity after Egypt? Don't give me Egypt. The law is given at this point. And it is very clear that Israel did not do what they were supposed to do. So understanding with all the turmoil that's going on in Israel now, and that America and Great Britain had to set you up, where did they set you up from? You should have been scattered to the four corners of the globe. You should have had a slavery that is listed here in Deuteronomy 28. One where you had a yoke of iron. Show me the picture of your yoke of iron. I can show you the picture of mine. Where's yours? Show me where your kids were taken from you. Show me where the woman that you was betrothed to was given to another man for him to lie with. Show me that. We can show you ours. And when you get ready to have that conversation, I guarantee you the fake Jew got to leave the room. He's not going to have that conversation because he cannot have that conversation. You finished that?
No, sir. By the way whereof I spake unto you, you shall see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
No man shall buy you means no man shall redeem you. You shall not be redeemed. You shall be servants in this land. And these people cannot show any captivity after this. They can't show this, but this is so long ago that they believe they can trick people into believing that it was them. Let's go to Exodus chapter 3. And I want to read something there. Exodus chapter 3, and we're going to just read verse 8. Let's show you how Yahweh, so that we see how Yahweh deals with punishment and see the just nature and how he deals with it.
Exodus chapter 3 and verse 8. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them out of that land unto a good land and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, onto the place of the Canaanites.
Okay, onto the place of the Canaanites. If we look at this and we look up these words in Strong's, the Canaanite is H3669. All right. Now it says a Canaanite or inhabitant of Canaan. By implication, a peddler. Canaanites standing for their neighbors, the Ishmaelites who conducted mercantile caravans. Then it goes and connects you to H3667, which gives you the definition. Canaan humiliated a son of Ham. Also country inhabited by him. So when we do Canaan, son of Ham, what does Ham mean?
Burnt.
Burnt or hot. So this is the darkest of the sons of Noah. Noah has Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So the darkest of them was Ham. People are going to tell you that there are no dark-skinned people that were from the area around Israel. See, they're going to try to tell you, oh, y'all people Africans. It was called Canaan land. It was Africans who had it first. These are Hamites. Understand, from the Hamites come Cush, which is Ethiopia. You ever seen a white Ethiopian? Okay. All of them come out of Ham. So they're going to try to tell you that no black person comes out of that, which is absolutely idiotic because, you know, with the lie of the Egyptian thing, that kind of helps them. Letting the Persians being called the Egyptians, you don't understand that they were very dark people right at the border already. See, not understanding that the people who we call Ethiopians were also part of that Egyptian rule. With them and the Nubians and all this kind of stuff. When you look up who the Egyptians are, you find out they are sons of Ham. So they were dark-skinned people. Ham means burnt or hot. This is the darker sons, the darkest of the sons of Noah. Okay, so you got the Canaanites. Keep going.
And the Hittites.
Now, Hittite, when we look this up, it gives us H, which is Hebrew 2850, and it says an Aboriginal, and it says of the sons of Heth. When we look up Heth, we will then go to Genesis 10 and verse 15 says, and Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth. Once again, these are all what we call Africans. Now, we're going to see the poetic justice in that. So each one of these, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and rather than going through all of them, we're going to jump and deal with this other one, the Jebusites, because understand, there's no J, period. Jerusalem is really Jerusalem. All right? So when we look up this Jebusites in English, it's Strong's H2983, and it is Jebusite or Jebus trodden, that is the threshing place. Yebus is the aboriginal name of Jerusalem. Yebus was what Jerusalem was before. So understand, this was Canaan land that Yahweh took and gave to the children of Israel. So understand that as we go forward. Now let's go to Yoel, the prophet Joel, and let's read verses 1 through 8. Yoel chapter 3. Now, so this is what we call Africans, are the people whose land we took. You have to consider, why did the Africans have the land to start with? You have to wonder. If they would have did what they were supposed to do in the land, maybe we would have never gotten a chance to get it in the first place. Yoel chapter 3 and verse 1 through 8.
For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Yehuda and Jerusalem.
Okay, when I shall bring again the captivity means cause the captivity to cease. Now, this is the captivity of Yehuda and Jerusalem. See, the children of Israel became a divided house, northern kingdom and southern kingdom. What you have in the land is everybody claiming to be the so-called Jews. Why? Because they want to be the ruling authority. Nobody is claiming to be Israel. They are claiming to all be Jews. There are not 12 tribes of Jews. There's 12 tribes of Israel. But all of the people there are claiming to be Jew. The so-called term of Jew, which they are Yehudi, or in plural, Yehudim, that only refers to the one tribe, or if you include the whole house, it would be Yehuda, Benjamin, and Levi. That is all it includes. This is why when we looked at the thing on the Limba tribe, you found the Jewish people saying, there's no need to look for any lost tribes. Don't try to look for any lost tribes. That would be the other 9 tribes. They don't want anybody to look for them. They are all claiming to be those 3 tribes. That's what they're claiming. But according to this, there was a captivity of Yehuda and Jerusalem. So you got to be able to dissect their lie. Say, no. You claiming to be of the house of Yehuda, you should have had a captivity too. Because it wasn't just Yehuda, because what they claim is Israel, the other 9 tribes were the only ones that went into captivity. That doesn't fit what's written in the book. That's why they had to write their own book. That's why they got the Torah, the Mishnah, and all that stuff. Because they can't prove their lie inside this Bible. They can't prove that lie in the Torah. Go ahead.
Verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel.
Right. Why do you think there's so much unrest in Jerusalem? See, we're building up to that point where all the nations have to come and go fight for his heritage. But see, what's happening is how Yahweh is tricking the nations is they don't understand who his heritage is. Go ahead.
Whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Right. They have scattered. See, the educated elite know who you are. See, but the average everyday soldier has inherited lies. He doesn't know what's going on. Go ahead.
And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink.
Now, the title of Yoel chapter 3 is the restoration of Israel. Now, it's talking about selling a boy for an harlot and a girl for wine. Ask the Jewish person, where has this happened? We can find it in our history. What? When they had the Book of Negroes, did you not see, what was that? Cognac? That they was a big old thing of cognac they was selling the slaves for? They had a big barrel. They were trading off the slaves for liquor. We can find this in our history. Ask the Jewish person to find it in his. Stop letting them people get you with pomp and circumstance. And don't let nobody trick you into tell you, oh, you being racist. No, I'm being historically accurate. Read.
Verse 4. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon?
Now, remember these, Tyre and Sidon. Wait a minute. Let's back up. Tyre and Sidon. Let me see, where have we heard Sidon? Okay, when we read Genesis chapter 10, verse 15, what I read to you, and it says, and Canaan begot Sidon. African. Okay, now, verse 4. Yea, and what have I to do with you, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Understand, that is where, remember, it was Canaan land. It was Africans that had it first. Okay, so these are Africans, what we call Africans. Because do understand, the Gentiles came and invaded that. They called it Africa. They the one, people always tell you, I'm a proud African. That's a white man name. I'm a proud African. No, you're not. Ain't no white man named, ain't no black man named Africa. Right, but see, people don't go back far enough. Go ahead.
Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
Now, he's talking about Tyre and Sidon. These are Canaanites. These are what we know to be Africans. Now, look at what he said about them. Go ahead.
Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Yehuda and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians.
Stop. Now, ask the fake Jew to find in his history where some Africans sold him to the Grecians. Guarantee you can't find it, because it didn't happen. But this is what has happened to the true children of Israel. And then it did not say just the children of Israel. It said Yehuda and Jerusalem. So both of the divided houses of Israel were sold. If we go over to that coast of Africa, there was a fort of Judah over there. That was the fort of Yehuda. Why did they have a slave fort named Yehuda? Because that's where they sold off the tribe of Yehuda at. But they're not going to want you to know that. They're not going to expect you to know that. Why would there be slave forts named after children of Israel? Named after tribes of Israel? Right. Go ahead.
You know, one of the sad things that I've heard, though, is like how you talk about the fort of Yehuda. People are doing their ancestry charting and are feeling that because that's where their people were sold from. Because
they end up in Africa.
Right.
Right, where they were sold from.
Thinking that's where they
Then they say, this is where I come from. Right. That's some sad stuff right there, right? That is some sad stuff. But see, that's the trickery. They're doing that so that they can pose that trickery. That's why we even got this term African American. Because Negro actually gave you more insight to something. Because you have to consider, Shalom, you have to consider, Negro is a Spanish word for black. At some point, you would have to ask yourself, why would I be called Negro? Why we in America and we have a Spanish term? You get in this book, it says, the ships of Tarshish shall be the first to return my sons. It says that we shall go into Egypt again via the ships of Tarshish. You look up Tarshish, Tarshish is Spain. Negro is a Spanish word. Somebody say, hey man, these Negroes gonna figure this out. We gotta call them something else. Hurry up, they keep asking about the Negro word. Hurry up, give them something. Okay, African American, there you go. Whew, thank you. Whew, they almost found out. So let's call them African American. So now, our people felt like, yeah, that made us belong. We African American. Africa is a continent, not a country. There's 50 some odd countries in Africa. That didn't give you no identity. That was even worse than Negro. Now, just by saying African American, you have now linked yourself to 2 continents. Now you could belong to 100 different places now. How many different places it is already? It's 50 states in America. Then 50 plus countries in Africa. See, that was given to you for confusion. Go ahead.
You know, I just want to touch one more thing. You know, you brought up the point about being called Negroes and the shifts of Tarshish coming from Spain. Everybody went to school. Who was given ships by Spain? The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Mm-hmm. So you think about what he was really doing when he came to the Americas and to the islands.
They know exactly, and they know who they were going to get. They couldn't enslave the natives, man. They couldn't enslave the natives that were here that they call Indians. Them people had a name for every coyote. To us, that's a coyote. And that's another coyote. They see it, no, that's blue. And that is Rem. You know, wait a minute. You know each one of these coyotes? Wait a minute. All of them look the same to me. No, they're not the same. What? So they try to enslave the natives. They take off running right and come back left. They be like, what just happened? Then now we got to kill all of them. Kill every last one of them. We need some more slaves who don't know how to run around here. And that know how to be slaves. Hey man, we know who know how to be slaves. These people done ruled over Spain. These doggone people who they call Moors said these people done ruled all this time. We know some people who know how to be slaves because they've been servants. They were created to be servants of Yahweh, but they wouldn't serve Yahweh. So now they're servants to all the nations. They know how to be slaves. Let's go get them. Right. And the Spanish said, we're going to get them back for ruling over us. That little game that they play every year where they say running with the bulls. That's the game. The game is running the black bull out of Spain. That's you. That's why you have to wonder, why would these people run with bulls and let the bulls kill? No, that is symbolic of running the black people. The black folks ran Spain for hundreds of years. I mean, a good period they ran it. Why do you think there's all these tinted, colored people there? The black people ran it. And then running with the bulls is the game. It is the symbolic thing of them finally running black rule out. And after that, they said, we're going to get them. They'll never get us again. Make sure you get all they people from everywhere they at and make them slaves in this new place. So you understand what's going on. Go ahead.
Yoel chapter 3 and verse 7. Behold, I will raise them out of the place where you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Yehudah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for Yahweh hath spoken it.
So that you understand what has happened, Yahweh took the land of the Canaanites. We then, and gave it to us. We then did not do what we were supposed to do. He then put us in captivity to the very Canaanite Africans whose land we took. See, you have to understand what righteous judgment is. Yahweh always said you shall reap what you have sown. So whatever it is you plant in the earth, that's what's going to come back out. So I tell people, do whatever you feel like you got to do. Just don't forget it. So when it come back to you, you won't be sitting there going, oh, why this happening to me? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Stop, slow down, and think. What did you do? I ain't did nothing. I've been a pillar of the community all my life. You a lie? You a lie, and the truth ain't in you. Think back. You'll find them deeds. Right. I tell people, you go ahead and do whatever you feel like you got to do. Just know it's going to show up at your doorstep. When you get that knock. Who is it? Judgment. I ain't here. Yes, you here. Judgment. Hey. Oh, and he coming in. I don't care how many locks you put on that door. When it come to your door, it's coming. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 22. Oh yeah, judgment take its time. But it cometh. Just like it must come to the nations. Yahweh let the nations get away with doing all these horrible things to us because they have their purpose in what they're supposed to bring out of us. But then Yahweh is going to deal with the nations for what they've done to the apple of his eye. Now, so that we understand land, law, breaking of the law, eviction from the land. So, there's another part that we have to understand why this serpent, why it was easy for this serpent to be used by the adversary. Do understand that to the serpent, Satan appeared as an angel of light. Why is this important? You have a whole lot of people that talking about God. I spoke to God. Who is God? See, pretty much anytime you call your God, you worshiping the devil. See, Yahweh has a name. See, Lucifer has accidental worshipers and on purpose worshipers. The pastor of the church know he worshiping the adversary of the devil. He does not. The people, though, they don't understand that they're worshiping the adversary of the devil. So anytime they see any miraculous thing, they automatically attribute that to this God. Do understand in the book of Job, when Lucifer was given the hedge removed, and he went to burn up the things of Job, they said it was fire came down out of heaven, and they said it was the fire of Elohim. But we know that was Lucifer that did that. But they saw a miraculous event and said, God must have did it. Right, God did it. Yahweh has a name. He says, this is my name forever. And people will tell you that he has many names, but as soon as they get ready to praise something and they get happy, they say hallelujah. They don't even know what it means. Hallelujah is praise you, Yah. So we find out then that the Elohim of Israel has a name. You know, folks say, you know, this one of them things. If somebody asks you, Kish, what's your dad's name? Your daddy got a name, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say Foster. I ain't gonna say Daddy.
Right. Your dad ain't named Daddy. Now you might call your daddy Daddy. That ain't your daddy name. Your dad ain't named Daddy. So they say, no, he's father. Who's father? You ever had somebody just walk up to you and say, hey, Daddy said come here. Who's Daddy? Me and you ain't got the same daddy. What are you talking about? We ain't got the same daddy. Who your daddy, boy? Okay. Yahweh has a name. So when you get to praying, do you just pray to God? Because if you do that, there are many entities who may answer that for you. Lucifer got, I got this. No, he prayed to me. Moo. I got this. Oh, yeah. So you want a new Cadillac? Cadillac coming. Woo, I'm going to get Cadillac. Now, I require just a few little things from you. Right. Them the few things going to cause you your salvation. Right there. But he'll give you that Cadillac, though. He'll give you that Cadillac. You get to ride to the lake of fire in style. Yeah. 1 Kings chapter 22, and let's start that at verse 1.
And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel. And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Yehudah, came down to the kings of Israel.
And you find straight turmoil still in the land of Israel to this day. Okay? Now, the prophecy says that there's going to be peace with the children of Israel. Now, we know it won't be immediate because all of the nations have to come up and fight. All of these things have to happen. But you have to consider, these people have been in the land since 1948, and they're fighting over the Temple Mount. And Israel keeps doing slick things, denying these people, stepping on what the Muslims call a holy site. Do understand that these are other children of Abraham who are there. So that you understand, when you get into this book, there's Abraham had many sons. Okay? He separated those from Esau. So that's why at some point you're going to find even that Muslim doctrine, the culture fits the culture of the Hebrews. They were brothers. Go ahead.
And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know you that Ramoth in Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria? And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Will you go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses are your horses. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray you, at the word of Yahweh today. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Adonai shall deliver it unto the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of Yahweh besides, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of Yahweh, but I hate him.
Right. He hate the prophet, right? Because he gonna say what he's supposed to say. Go ahead.
For he does not prophesy good concerning me, but evil.
Right. So the people want personal prophecy, and they want it all to be good. Right. That's Sunday morning Christianity. Give me a personal prophecy. They even make you pay for it. You pay a certain amount of money, you get to go down in front of the church, and you get your personal prophecy. And it's always good. You ever notice that? Now, how does everybody receive a good prophecy? You ever notice not one time have you watched a televangelist and they turn around and give them their prophecy and say, you going to hell? Now, you notice you ain't never said, because all them people everybody just can't be good. It's too much evil in the world for everybody to just receive a good personal prophecy. First of all, if you're getting a personal prophecy, you are seeing a witch. Okay? So understand what you're dealing with. There ain't no personal prophecy. The prophecies are for the nation of Israel, not for you. Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you that you need a personal prophecy? All of a sudden, I get my own prophet. The prophet just come to me. I'm coming to talk to you, Isaac. What the hell for? You got this whole book right here. No, Isaac don't need no prophet. Take him back. Take him back. Isaac don't need no personal prophet. No. Esau gonna deal with the stuff that's in here. I'm straight. No, Esau got a personal prophecy. Take him, tell him to go back. Get your money back. Get your money back. Cause I got stuff in here that ain't even happened yet. I don't need no personal one. Right? You seeing a witch. That's what you seeing. Go ahead.
And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, Hasten hither Micaiah the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Yehudah sat each on his throne, having put on their robes.
Now jump to verse 14.
And Micaiah said, As Yahweh liveth, what Yahweh saith unto me, that will I speak.
Right, because they trying to tell him, look, all these other people done prophesy good, so you prophesy good too. No, I ain't doing that. What Yahweh tell me to speak, that's what I'm going to speak. Do understand, if the angel of Yahweh leads you to do something, you going to suffer some problems because of it. Why? Because the children of men ain't going to like it. That don't mean you don't do it though. You follow your instructions. See, people say, well, this might be easier or this going to cause less problems. Who told you that Yahweh wanted you to have less problems? Just follow your instructions. You don't get to redo the instructions because you think, well, this will go smoother if I do it this way. Right. You have a smooth Cadillac ride to the lake of fire. Go ahead.
So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper, for Yahweh shall deliver it unto the hand of the king. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure you that you tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of Yahweh? And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have not a shepherd. And Yahweh said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell you that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, Hear you therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And Yahweh said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner.
Now, Yahweh is having a conversation with angels. All right, go ahead.
And there came forth a spirit and stood before Yahweh and said, I'll persuade him.
Okay, go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I'll go forth, and I'll be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets.
Now, a lying angel done showed up. So everybody talking about, I talked to God. What you think these people thought? They talked to God. A lying spirit has led them to go and be destroyed. So when you have them people talking about, oh, God spoke to me. Right, it's a lying spirit that go all over the earth. Showing miracles. Doing all them stuff. And all of them call their God God. Right. Go ahead.
And he said, You shall persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so.
Right, you go, you lying, you with your lying self. You go and prevail with your good line. How you know how to lie? It says, when Lucifer tells a lie, he tells his own, for he is the maker of it. How you get? Oh, you must be one of his angels.
Hanging out with him.
You've been hanging out with all of them. Ah, see, you know them by their fruit. So when this lying spirit show up in front of Yahweh, he's like, oh, so you gonna go and tell a lie? Now the rest of them are discussing how they can do it. Why you think they having a discussion? Because they're having a discussion in how to do it in righteousness. He said, let you go and lie. I can do it. I can do it. Woo, I can't wait to lie. Woo, Lucifer done told me, oh, I'm so good at it. Woo, I lied so smooth, just roll off my tongue. Oh, you go ahead then with your lying self. Right. Consider that. All these people talking about how they done been visited by God and we listen to them. There's a lying spirit that goes over the earth. Let's go to Galatians chapter 4. See, Yahweh allowed us to be kicked out of the land as our punishment. But then understand, in the absence of us, other people have come and assumed our land. So Yahweh got to deal with them too. Remember, as we have read, Yahweh deals with all parties involved. See, people keep trying. That's why everybody want to pass the book. No, she did it. No, what? I didn't. What the serpent beguiled me. Everybody want to pass the buck. Do understand? Yahweh gets everybody involved. Everybody gonna get it. Everybody gonna get it. They don't need to try to act like. This is why people cannot have true forgiveness, because they can't repent. What people like to do is somehow people think sins just dissipate in the air if they just go away for a while. And somebody tell a lie on you or steal something from you, and then they just go and disappear for 2 months and just show back up. Well, I would like to move forward. You know, just move forward with everything. We can move forward as soon as you return my stuff. Well, tell me how we gonna move forward after you done stole my stuff? After you done lied on me? You done stood in front of 30 people and lied on me, and then want to come and have a private conversation with me. Come here, brother son. First of all, I want to apologize for what I said. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. Let's get them 30 people in here who you told them lies to. Don't tell me. Tell the people you told them lies to. No, then they gonna know. Then that was gonna be perceived as me being a liar. You're a liar. They're gonna tell them 30 people you told them a lie. So why can't we just move forward, bro? Why can't we just move forward? We can move forward according to how it's written in this book. It says restore the pledge. Restore that which you have violently taken away. We ain't talking about things that people did before they got baptized. People do stuff after their baptism, lie on other Israelites, then say, why can't we just move forward? So they want to deal with this book as it suits them. They done already lost their salvation and they don't even know it. They playing Israelite. We got a lot of Israelite actors. Go ahead, brother.
Galatians chapter 4 and verse 22. For it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid, the other by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh, but he of the free woman was by promise.
All right, so you got two sons. You have this same general makeup from the beginning of the book to the ending of the book. Go ahead.
Which things are an allegory, for these are the two covenants, the one from the Mount Sinai, which gendereth the to bondage, which is Agar. For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which now is, and is in bondage with her children.
All right, so we have that. Now let's go to Matthew chapter 21. So we have these two sons, and they are these two covenants. Matthew chapter 21. And let's read verses 28 through 32.
Verse 28. But what think you? A certain man had two sons. And he came to the first and said, Son, go work today in my vineyard.
Now, this is Yeshua talking. This is the parable of the two sons. Yeshua says a certain man had two sons. Do understand, the angels are called sons of Elohim. All right? Go ahead.
He answered and said, I will not. But afterward he repented and went.
Okay. Certain man had two sons. The father said, go work at my vineyard. One did not want to go. He said, I will not. But then he repented and went. Go ahead.
And he came to the second and said likewise. And he answered and said, I go, sir, and went not.
Right. He went with gainsaying. He said, yeah, I'm going to go. But he didn't go. So he went, or he made it look like he was going, but he didn't do the job that he was supposed to do. Go ahead.
Whether of them two did the will of his father?
Okay. You know what? Keep reading it. Go ahead.
They say unto him, the first. Yahshua saith unto them, Verily I say unto you, that the publicans and the harlots go into the kingdom of Elohim before you.
The publicans and harlots go into the kingdom before you. Why? Because they repent. They don't fake it repenting. And that's what we have so many Israelites doing. Faking at repenting, because true repentance means that you have to admit that you did something. And that's what Israel can't do. Israel can't admit that they did anything. They want to move on. They want to, let's just put that behind us. Okay, what exactly are we putting behind us? That thing. What thing? The thing. What thing? The thing. What thing? Right. See, Jake can't admit that he did anything wrong, but yet he wants you to forgive him for that which he will not admit that he has done. Right. There is no forgiveness without repentance, and you cannot repent without mentioning what it was you did. Go ahead.
For Yohanan came unto you in the way of righteousness, and you believed him not. But the publicans and the harlots believed him. And you, when you had seen it, repented not afterward, that you might believe him.
All right. So now let's go to Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4, and let's read verses 1 through 7.
Verse 1. And Yahshua, being full of the Holy Ghost, returned from Jordan, and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. And in those days he did eat nothing. And when they were ended, he afterward hungered. And the devil said unto him, If you be the son of Elohim, command these stones that they be made bread.
All right. If you be the son of Elohim. Remember now, a certain man had two sons. He told one to go work in the vineyard. He said, I will not, but repented and went. The other one said, yeah, I go. But he didn't. So one of the sons is here. And the other son is here testing him. Go ahead.
And Yahshua answered him, saying, It is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word of Elohim. And the devil, taking him up into an high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him,
Listen.
All this power will I give you, and the glory of them, for that it is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it.
Who gave it to him? It was delivered unto him. This is the other son. This was the one who said, I go, sir, but went not. So you got the two sons jousting one another. Now, he says, it is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. Here is your prosperity doctrine. Go ahead.
If you therefore will worship me, all shall be yours.
All you have to do is worship me and I'll make you rich. I will make you rich. Here's your prosperity doctrine. It's right here. That's why I tell you about all those folks who worship God. See, their God don't have a name, and Satan has transformed himself into an angel of light. So they see, and they feel something. Right. That's the adversary. So that we understand what's going on. Now let's go to Ezekiel chapter 35. Ezekiel chapter 35. And let's start that at verse 1.
Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it.
Mount Seir is where Esau and the Edomites are from. This is their habitation. Go ahead.
And say unto it, Thus says the Adonai Elohim, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against you, and I will stretch out my hand against you, and I will make you most desolate. I will lay your cities waste, and you shall be desolate, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Because you have had a perpetual hatred, and have shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Adonai Elohim, I will prepare you unto blood, and blood shall pursue you.
Blood shall pursue you. The so-called Edomites are the people, are a mingled people who are in the midst of Israel, calling themselves the Jews. They can't have peace if they wanted to. Everybody surrounding them are at their borders trying to fight them. Because they are a bloody people, Yahweh says blood will pursue you. So they cannot have a peaceful nature. They are not a peaceful people. Go ahead.
See, if you have not hated blood, even blood shall pursue you.
Blood shall pursue you. So even when they're not doing something, something gonna pursue them, and they gonna have to continuously fight. Go ahead.
Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. In your hills, and in your valleys, and in your rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make you perpetual desolations, and your cities shall not return, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Because you have said, These two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there.
Right. See, as we've read, the punishment for not dealing with the righteousness of the law is servitude and being ejected out of the land. So Esau, who has perpetual hatred against his brother Yaakov, then as his land becomes available, he then moves and takes possession. Go ahead.
Verse 11. Therefore, as I live, saith the Adonai Elohim, I will even do according to your anger and according to your envy, which you have used out of your hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged you. And you shall know that I am Yahweh, and that I have heard all your blasphemies which you have spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they're laid desolate, they're given us to consume. Thus with your mouth you have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them.
Right. See, when people do things, they think that they're doing them against people and other nations. They don't think that by coming against the children of Israel that they are coming against Yahweh. See, this is what we think being individuals that come against another person in the word. Those people are baptized in the name of Yahshua. If those people have a job to do, you then come in the way of their job. You have gone against Yahweh. You have not gone against that individual. And see, that's what we don't see. And that's what gets you into some serious stuff. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Thus said the Adonai Elohim, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make you desolate.
Right. So then Yahweh is pausing their desolation. See? No. See, I'm going to make everybody else peaceful. And you going to get your punishment when everybody else have peace. See, Yahweh knows how to reserve the wicked until the day of judgment. Our problem is we envy the wicked. We see them do evil and don't nothing happen to them. So now I'm going to do evil too. Look at that, they did evil. Ain't nothing even happened to them. They got that cat like it just hit a bump and just float. Look at that. I want one of those. Right. Go ahead.
As you didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate.
Because it was desolate, then they moved into it. Now we're letting people tell us, oh, we've been here for centuries. No, you ain't. Go ahead.
So will I do unto you. You shall be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, that they shall know that I am Yahweh.
So, and as it is written, you're talking about the transgressing of the law. You understand something. The so-called people who call themselves the Jews, the way they have transgressed Yahweh's law is they made a whole new one. That's the slickest thing ever. To transgress the law, what they did was create themselves a Talmud, a Mishnah, the Gemara, whatever they want to call it. They got all these other things, which are so-called added unto the law. Now, we can read in Deuteronomy 4, it says, do not add unto this word that I give you. So then what they did was have a so-called rabbinical body. These rabbis then had so-called oral law, and then they wrote down all of these other things that are in addition to the law. So now they have pushed the Torah to the side, and what they keep is the Talmud and the Mishnah. All their so-called rabbis have to go through this Talmud. This Talmud is one of the most wicked things you could ever try and read. Absolutely twisted. Talking about, intercourse with dead bodies, and understand some of the sickest stuff that you'll find. We can read in here about circumcision. Some of the sick, twisted stuff that they got going on where they so-called circumcise the child, and then the priest get the blood with his mouth off the babies. It is some twisted, sick stuff. You ain't gonna read that in this book. So they had to get another book that allows them to do sick, twisted things. Now you understand why Yahweh calls them the synagogue of Satan. Yahweh ain't told nobody to get no blood off and then this stuff happening in church. They have pictures where a rabbi is doing some things to the child right there, and the parents are sitting there. Right. But you need to know, so that when people come up to you with pomp and circumstance, claiming and proclaiming to be something, you don't let them people give you low self-esteem. You stand bold on the word of Yahweh, because that stuff that they got going on, that didn't come from the word of Yahweh. That came from the hearts of twisted men. That didn't come out of this book. So that's why when you start talking about the stuff in Deuteronomy 28, eventually we have people that don't like, the things that I put out, because, believe you me, I'm a lot of people know us. A lot of people know because of the videos that we put out. People are in Israel writing posts trying to come against the very videos that we put out. So, and they try to have conversation and they try to run that game. And when we start talking, they eventually have to leave us alone. Because what we're going to talk, we're going to talk out of this Torah. We ain't going to talk out of your Talmud. So your Talmud ain't finna be the basis for our conversation. Because it's wicked. And it was brought forth by men. And Yahweh said, do not add unto his word. They have added several volumes to the word. That is a problem. Let's go to Obadiah chapter 1. But do understand, Yahweh has said that he is going to judge them for their dealings against Yaakov. So that when you see what's happening in Jerusalem, you understand that this judgment is on its way. All of this turmoil has to happen. It is just the setting up of the great judgment that has to come. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 1.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Adonai Elohim concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise you, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made you small among the heathen. You are greatly despised.
You always have people talking about they're going to go to Israel. Let me tell you something. All those countries have this thing where they let you come over there and then they either confine you to a certain area or they forbid you. What they're doing to all these refugees to make sure that they never become an economic force in the land, they allow those people to come and then they basically put the people on welfare and tell the people that they cannot work. And Israel is doing the same thing. Jordan is doing the same thing. They have to be present for roll call. So if they tried to work, they're gonna figure out that they're working. If they do anything outside of this, they're gonna lose any assistance that they get, and they get just enough assistance to barely eat and survive. And they talk about now. All we hear about is the racist or the so-called racism that have been perpetuated against them. And you find out that they are the most racist people ever. That's the game that's being played. But see, that game fools me and it never fools Yahweh. Go ahead.
Verse 3. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You have dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set your nest among the stars, thence will I bring you down, saith Yahweh. If thieves came to you, if robbers by night, how art you cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to you, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of your confederacy have brought you even to the border. The men that were at peace with you have deceived you.
Right. America and Great Britain have placed those people in the land as the children of Israel, but they are deceiving them. They are setting them up so that they can go ahead and set forth. Why do you think all of the fighting is happening around the Temple Mount? See, they say, well, we got to have peace. We got to have peace. They've been going through this thing over and over. They know what they're setting up. See? This place have to be set up. They have to make it to where all of these people agree. so that the Pope can go over there and stand in the place where he ought not and say things that he ought not to say. Because he already says he's the Holy Father, so he has already proclaimed that he is God. What's left to do is he got to go and do that in the Holy Land itself. So then he can go and sit on Elohim's throne. And then the game jumps off. Go ahead.
And prevail against you. They that eat your bread have laid a wound under you. There is none understanding in him. Verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mouth of Esau? And your mighty men, O T-man, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For your violence against your brother Jacob, shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever.
Right. Yahweh lets you know that these people are the brother of the children of Israel. Letting them know that they stood there waiting, and when Israel was being punished, they came in and assumed the land. Go ahead.
Verse 11. In the day that you stoodeth on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even you was as one of them.
You were as one of them. So they were carried away captive. Ask the Jew-like people, where were they carried away captive to? They can't answer those questions. But you got to be bold enough to ask it. Go ahead.
You know, even in this day, when a crime is being committed, the lookout gets sentenced too, right?
Yeah, the lookout gets sentenced. You were party to a crime. You're guilty by association, even if you walk the street with a bunch of crooks. You see some gang members, and they say, yeah, man, we walking down to the store. I'll walk to the store with you. You going to jail with them. But y'all, I didn't do nothing. You knew they were gang members. Well, I wasn't sure. Boy, all them got on red. All them got red bandanas hanging out their back pocket. Boy, why you walk to the store with them? See, we're going to give you 2 years just for being stupid. You get a stupid sentence. See, you wasn't even part of the gang, but you just going to go so you can hang with the gang. You get 2 years for being stupid. That's your stupid sentence right there. You knew what they were going to do. You knew what they were. Did you think that all these people just happened to come out the house with all red shirts on? Ain't that much coincidence in the world. Right. Go ahead.
Verse 12. But you should have not have looked on the day of your brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither should you have rejoiced over the children of Yehudah in the day of their destruction. Mm-hmm. Neither should you have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity.
Right. Yahweh is going to take care of his business. Go ahead.
Yea, you should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
Why you think Yahweh said you're going to inherit houses that you didn't build? Right. See? Yahweh going to turn around, let them do all that stuff. This is how Yahweh does things. You have to see the repetitive nature of Yahweh. Yahweh let these people come in and take all of those things out of the holy city during the Babylonian captivity. When it was time to go back, Yahweh had them return all that stuff. So they taking all the stuff or whatever, taking all the vessels and all this gold and silver, right? And they were just basically a bank for Yahweh while our people were in captivity. And then when they returned, Yahweh, by the way, return their stuff. And when the guy decided he was going to use it, he got all boastful. Then Yahweh turned around and gave them visions and horrified this guy for even using the stuff. All that everybody think we have lost, Yahweh going to give it all back. But if you try to go get it yourself, you're going to have some serious problem. Go ahead.
Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 14. Neither should you have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither should you have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As you have done, it shall be done unto you. Mm-hmm. Your reward shall return upon your own head.
Right. What you reap, what you sow. Whatever you plant, that's what's going to grow. It's going to be in a different season. See, you don't plant it and it grow in the same day. It's going to take a minute for that which you have planted to grow. Go ahead.
For as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possession. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them, and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it.
So Yahweh, the whole redemption of the children of Israel, is also dealing with Esau and Edom for wrongfully possessing their land. See, you have to know that this stuff is in here. Go ahead.
And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau, and they of the plain the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the captivity of the host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath. And the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's.
The kingdom shall be Yahweh's. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3. Revelation chapter 3.
Verse 1.
Now let's read verse 9.
Verse 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Yehudis, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you.
And to know that I have loved you. Yahweh says he's going to make the synagogue of Satan. When you consider all of Yahweh's ways that are transgressed in the land by the addition of all of these so-called added books, you have to understand then who this synagogue of Satan is and why they are the synagogue of Satan. See, a lot of people will say, yeah, they're the synagogue of Satan, but they don't know how to prove that. You should pick up that Talmud and try to read it. You won't get very far before you see just how sick and twisted it is. And when you understand that this is something that every so-called rabbi has read, every person has to read that, then you understand why they are the synagogue of Satan, because that book says something totally opposite what the Torah says. So that when you flip the channels and you see all of this turmoil that is going on in the holy city, understand why these things are happening, and they're not going to ease up. They are going to continually happen because the stage have to be set for the true children of Israel to take that city. Remember, what was given unto Daniel, it said the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Not they're going to be given the kingdom from America and Great Britain. See, just their existence in the land goes against what's written. So you either believe what's written or you believe America and Great Britain. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.